that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation on this 14th day of June, the year 2023, for the National Assembly proceedings afternoon sitting. In the order of business for the members of the National Assembly is that they will be resuming debate on the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2023. It is a bill that entered its second reading stage this morning in the morning proceedings, and various members got the opportunity to participate in this bill. It is a debate that began this morning, and various members already got their time to discuss and debate or air their opinions on this particular bill. Just to remind you is that the finance bill was submitted by the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Planning, and formulates the proposals announced in the budget for the 2023-2024 financial year relating to liability to and collection of taxes and for matters incidental thereto. And the bill amends finance-related legislation, including the Income Tax Act, the Value-Added Tax Act, the Excise Duty Act, the Tax Procedures Act 2015, and the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act 2016. So the debate on this bill will be resuming this afternoon, as members did not manage to conclude debate on this bill for the morning sitting. And this afternoon, various members who have not been able to participate will get time to debate on this bill. In the morning sitting, Speaker directed that each member will be getting 5 minutes to debate on this bill. And that is what has been happening. We believe that once resumption in the debate on this bill kicks off this afternoon, is that each member will still have the 5-minute time or duration to be able to give out their opinions on this bill. Issues taking precedence, including the housing levy as well as the 16% VAT on petroleum products. But as you can see, the Speaker of the National Assembly is in the chambers, Honorable Dr. Moses Wetangula. He will be presiding over this afternoon session. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. Good afternoon. My name is Kamche Menza.
Ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umeteua nyadhifa za viongozi na umabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu. Tukusihi utusame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao wameridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Tukuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. We have quorum, members. Let's proceed. Clerk.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable members, there are 2 petitions. The first one from a citizen, Francis Ngunga, for whom I will present. The second one to be presented by the Honorable Ali Wario MP Garsen. Is he in the chamber? Honorable Ali Wario. Members, take your seats. I want to... Honorable members, there's a petition regarding punitive charges levied by the Kenya National Highways Authority. Honorable members, Article 119 of the Constitution accords any person the right to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority. Further, Standing Order 2252B requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented by a member. In this regard, I wish to report to the House that my office has received a petition from Honorable Francis Ngunga, who is the member of County Assembly for Mua Ward in Machakos County, calling for consolidation of licenses issued by the Kenya National Highways Authority, as well as comprehensive review of KENHA's licensing and levies regime. Honorable members, take your seats. Take the nearest seat. The nearest seat. Even Robert Mbui doesn't know the meaning of nearest. Right. Honorable members, the petitioner is aggrieved by KENHA's issuance of exemption permits and licenses for the transport of abnormal loads that include road construction equipment such as excavators, bulldozers, rollers, and graders, as well as other overdimensional or heavy cargo. He avers that KENHA unfairly institutes double charges that are punitive and regressive with regard to the said licenses. The petition describes how KENHA charges low loaders for carrying loads that do not exceed 10 tons, but further proceeds to levy additional charges if the load in question is a grade or a roller, notwithstanding the fact that the said grade or roller does not exceed the 10-ton limit that has already been paid for. Honorable members, in light of these woes occasioned by double charges and related inconveniences, the petitioner seeks the urgent intervention of the National Assembly in reviewing KENHA's licensing framework for abnormal loads transport, consolidating KENHA's exemption licenses, and having them issued annually as opposed to quarterly, and the release of abnormal load transport vehicles from police stations pending the review of KENHA's licensing and levies regime. Honorable members, having established that the matter raised in the petition is well within the authority of this House, and further that the matters raised in the petition are not pending before any court of law, constitutional or legal body, I hereby commit the petition to the Public Petitions Committee for consideration pursuant to Standing Order 208A. The committee is required to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and to the petitioner in accordance with Standing Order 2272. I thank you. Is Honorable Wario in the House now? Honorable Wario, you prosecute your petition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I raise to present a petition number 31 of 2023. I, the undersigned, on behalf of the residents of Garseni constituency, draw the attention of the House. 1, that the Tana Delta irrigation project was initiated by Tana and Athi Rivers Development Authority, TARDA, to enhance quality of life through sustainable utilization, environmental protection, food security, and revenue generation in the lower Tana River Basin. That the project is estimated to cover 8 locations in Garseni constituency, namely Muina location, Salama, Galili location, Kipao location, Wachuoda location, Konemansa location, Handaraku location, and Idawarede location. That the project as currently designed will lead to great displacement of residents of the said location, destabilize their livelihood economically, socially, and politically, and further interfere with the environmental ecosystem composed of protected forest areas that are an ecological habitat for marine and terrestrial wildlife. That part of the area covered by the project is the in Tana River Delta, which is Kenya's 6th Ramsar site and the only Ramsar wetland outside the rift, as declared by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. That the effort by the resident to engage TARDA to review the boundaries before implementation of the project have not been successful. That the resident and that the reluctance by TARDA to conduct public participation on the project violate the national values and principles of governance stipulated in the Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The issue in the respect of which this petition is raised are not pending before any court of law or any constitutional or legal body. Therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly through the Public Petitions Committee, 1, engages the Tana and Athi Rivers Development TARDA to review the boundaries of land managed by the Tana Delta Irrigation Project in order to, among other interventions, ensure that Tana River Delta Irrigation Project does not extend beyond the southern parts of Garseni-Lamu Road and should instead be extended eastward toward the border of Boni Forest to create a security buffer zone. Number 2, facilitate clear demarcation of boundaries of TARDA land from the general community land. Number 3, compels TARDA to comprehensively engage residents of Tana River in all aspects of the project's design and implementation, and makes any other recommendation or actions deems fit in addressing the plight of the petitioners. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Wario, the 2 petitions are committed to the Committee of Public Petitions. Because of the debate before us, I will forego the need for any comments. We'll leave it to the committee to deal with those 2 petitions. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 14th June afternoon sitting. 1, first quarterly report of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for the year covering the period 1st January 2023 to 31st March 2023 from the Office of the Attorney General. 2, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect of the following institutions for the year ended 30th June 2022 and the certificates therein. Mukurweini Technical Training Institute, Samburu Technical and Vocational College, Madenga Technical Training Institute, Mount Elgon Lodge Limited, Simlo Seeds Company Limited, Kieni Technical and Vocational College, Madeira Technical and Vocational College, Lake Victoria North Water Works Development Agency, the Technical University of Kenya, Multimedia University of Kenya, National Youth Service, National Youth Council, the Institute of Human Resource Management, Pwani University, Kenya Water Towers Agency, National Irrigation Authority, Sikri Technical and Vocational College for the Blind and Deaf, Chuka Technical and Vocational College, Tarbot Technical and Vocational College, and MSOS Technical and Vocational College. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
you, Majority Leader. Chairperson, Select Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 14th June 2023. It's the report of the Select Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member of the Kenya Parliament Delegation, I don't know to where, Honorable John Kiari. Eh? John Kiari. That must be IPU delegation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. And I rise, Mr. Speaker, to lay the following paper on the table of 23. And the paper I'm laying, Mr. Speaker, is a report of the 146th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, also known as the Parliament of Parliaments, the IPU, and related meetings that were held in Manama in the Kingdom of Bahrain from the 11th to the 15th of March 2023. Mr. Speaker, I do appreciate this opportunity, and with your magnanimity, Mr. Speaker, because this is the first time I was speaking on something substantive, I would beg you allow me 1 minute to just say thank you to all the members of Parliament who came in a very big way to support me when we were laying my dad to rest, and say a very special thank you to yourself, Mr. Speaker, all of Parliament, the Clerk of the National Assembly, the sergeants, and everyone who accompanied us as we were laying the great man to rest at home. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Kiari. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Kiari.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion: that this House notes the report of the 146th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, the IPU, and related meetings that were held in Manama in the Kingdom of Bahrain from the 11th to the 15th of March 2023, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 14th June 2023. This is signed by myself. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements. Order number 8, the Finance Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2023, second reading.
My records show at the time we rose, Mishimbogo, member for Likoni, was on the floor with 4.5 minutes to go. Honorable Mishi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I said from the onset, I strongly oppose this bill, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I'm just citing on the increased taxation on fuel levy. And for me, if you increase fuel levy, it means the cost of production is going to be high, the cost of transportation is going to be high. It will also affect agriculture, because agriculture depends on machinery, and the machinery, they depend on diesel and petrol as power. Honorable Speaker, as you know, the cost of living right now is very high, and Kenyans have been burdened by this. Honorable Speaker, right now, unga is about 250. If by bad luck this bill passed, it will mean it will go beyond 250 shilling. That means Kenyans will not be able to have a plate of meal. I don't know whether Kenyans are going to go back to the concept of fasting, the way the Shakahola victims have been doing, because they will not be able to put a plate to eat. Honorable Speaker, there is the issue of the turnover tax. The turnover tax before, it used to be around 1 million shilling, but now it has been reduced to 500,000. Meaning if you divide by 365 days, it means if you're making a sale of about 1,370 per day, you are going to put a tax of 3%. And these are the hustler people, the mama mboga, the boda boda, the mama mahamri. All of these people, they don't have money, they are broke, they are poor, and yet they're being told to give that kind of a taxation. Honorable Speaker, the issue of housing, I think this could be done voluntarily, because right now, so many Kenyans, especially the civil servants, let's look on our humble teachers, our police officers, our KDF guys, and other civil servants who have already incurred some mortgages from other financial institutions. Others have taken loans from various banks, and yet they are being forced to pay a fund for housing. Honorable Speaker, I think it should not be mandatory, but it should be a voluntary. So many questions have been raised on this issue of housing. For instance, if a couple, both of them are civil servants, are they both going to be charged that 3%? Is 2 houses a priority for them? Maybe they would need to have only 1 house. But then, because they are both civil servants, they are going to pay that taxation. Another question is, for somebody who has few years to retirement, maybe 5 or 10 years, if he pays that taxation for 5 and 10 years, what will happen? Is he going to get that house? If he's not going to get that house, where will that money go? Is he going to get that money back? Is he going to get an interest of that money? So there are so many questions which, as Kenyans, we need to have been thought about it even before putting on in this bill. Honorable Chair, there is a saying in Kiswahili which says, mtu ujikuna afikapo. I know we have put a big budget, but do we chew what we cannot swallow? Let us just go gradually, because Rome was not built in a day. I know there is a lot of wastages. There is a lot of corruption. If you only look on those loopholes, on the wastages and on the corruption, and also those vote heads, which they are not that priority. I don't say that they are not important, but maybe it's not a priority. Like today in the budget, there are some offices which have been allocated huge funds, a lot of money, big monies, and yet if you look on the function and the roles, it is not a priority. Our priority as a country is to reduce the cost of living for Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, I want also to talk about the increased tax on mobile money transfer. As you know right now, majority of Kenyans, I can say maybe over 70%, they depend on mobile money transfer. Even our parents in the rural setup where the banks are not there, we keep on sending money via mobile money transfer. And today, we are going to increase the taxation from 12 to 15%. That means you will pay more 3% to send money through mobile money M-Pesa. Honorable Speaker, there is also advanced tax on commercial vehicle. When you talk about commercial vehicle, you don't miss to talk about matatus, you don't miss to talk about lorries. We are using matatu. Is the fare not going to be high? It is going to be high. You want to maybe to transfer your materials, building material and something else using the lorries. Lorry is also part of the vehicles which we are talking about here. So it means it will be very expensive. Honorable Speaker, I want to urge my colleague to be objective leader, which I believe they are objective leader, and look at this bill and look at Kenyans, because we don't say that we don't want to pay tax. Taxation is part.
Mutunga. Yes, was a point of order. Kamket. Is it Kamket? What's your point of order? What's out of order?
Mr. Speaker, I raise understanding order number 1. Mr. Speaker, given the interest in this bill, and having noted, Mr. Speaker, that the card system in this house is totally rigged, could I be in order, Mr. Speaker, that you use a mixture of both the card and other considerations in identifying members to speak?
What are the other considerations?
There are other members, Mr. Speaker. There are members, Mr. Speaker, who never even went for lunch. They were here literally, they put their cards from 1 up to now. And there are other members, perhaps, Mr. Speaker, who may have been doing other things for their constituency So, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, I'm seeking your indulgence.
I understand you.
Yeah, that you use a card and a mixture of a bit of members catching your eye. Thank you, Mr.
What I
Speaker.
don't know is what your other methods are. But members, the screen is full, both requests and interventions. Requests are 89, but on the screen I can only see about 15, of course, because of the structure of the screen. Interventions are 9, and I know many more who want to speak. Listening to the tone of the debate, it's up to you as a House to decide whether you want to stick to 5 minutes or you want to cut a little less. You are okay with 5 minutes? Okay. We'll go on with that, if that is the mood. What we will do is, you know, in a debate such as this, there are a lot of considerations that we follow. We'll be as fair to everybody as we can. Remember that we are sitting up to 9 p.m. So by that time, I'm sure the majority of you will have had an opportunity to speak. Even if we are saying 5 minutes, if you came to prosecute only one point, when you finish it, you don't have to meander around on other issues that are not clear. Prosecute your point and then give room to somebody else. Mutunga and Sergeant, the chamber is too hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
Can you improve the aircon?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this bill. Honourable Speaker, as we speak to this particular bill, I seek for sobriety because the issues and matters in this bill are really important to this country. Honourable Speaker, yesterday we passed a report, clause by clause, the report on supplies, and we all did not have a problem. We all were happy at the end of the day. The bill pronounces some measures to raise revenue, to increase revenue by 211 billion, so that we may attain a target, which is in this year's budget, of 2.5711 trillion. For what purpose are we raising this money? Honourable Speaker, we want to raise money to increase, or rather to boost manufacturing and job creation in this country. If we create more jobs, it means we employ more Kenyans. It means we get Kenyans out of destitution. Honourable Speaker, it is also supposed to increase access to food or food security, in other words. It's supposed to increase possibility to have universal health and also complete the stored projects. I am sure in every backyard there is a stored project, and these are the projects we would like to complete with this money. And finally, and unique in this particular respect, Honourable Speaker, affordable housing. I want to highlight a few issues that have been brought by my colleagues. One of them, some have cited insensitivity to Kenyans. Is creating jobs being insensitive to Kenyans? Is employing the 6 million or so youths who are in this country looking for jobs for 4 or 5 years being insensitive to Kenyans? Is spreading the little that we have to all the others being insensitive to Kenyans? Mr. Speaker, I do not think so. Many have also cited that there are other means, and they're not coming clean on which means. Which means are we referring to? More debt, more burdening, selling out this country to foreigners, or auctioning our institutions and our investments? I do not think that is the way to go. Honourable Speaker, let me pick on the issue that is more contentious in this House, the issue of 1.5% housing levy. I'm looking at Kenyans who are unemployed, and I'm looking at employed people saying that giving 1.5% is punitive to get our daughters and sons employed, to get your brothers and sisters employed. You cannot surrender 1.5? Honourable Speaker, I would like, if it were possible, to bring an amendment to say a minimum of 1.5%, and those who can give more, to give more, because we need Kenyans employed. Once we employ these Kenyans, are we not spreading the power across the domain? Are we now supporting those who are at the bottom of the pyramid? If somebody is in a household that is educated and doesn't have a job, and there are so many others who are depending on somebody who doesn't even have a job today, are we saying that it is unreasonable to employ such a person? Housing scheme has the capacity to employ 3 people per every 3 million house, and indirectly, that is directly and indirectly 8 people. If we create this employment, don't you see the sense in having the youth employed? Honourable Speaker, I think I think that is the lowest we can go. Minimum 1.5%, and those who can give more, to go ahead and give more. Honourable Speaker, there was an issue of aircraft and parts. The duty on aircraft and parts, Honourable Speaker, this comes in to address the demand for air travel. I am sure some of us here suffer because they do not have air travel. I come from Meru. We have an airport at Isiolo, which you can use very effectively, but there is no commuter plane. We would like to have a commuter plane like the one going to Kisumu, like the one going to Mombasa, like the one going to Garissa. We would like that. Investment in this field is impossible because of the cost. Is that really being unreasonable? Don't we have important things to do over time? Is our time not useful as it is, as yours is? Let's look at these things positively and try to see how we can build this economy in a better way. Honourable Speaker, there is the issue of investment in reducing cost when it comes to importation of materials. When you look at the bill, there are about 21 ways in which it is lifting the Kenyans out of the burden. And the issue of the fuel levy from 8 to 16%. Look at the other East African countries whom we compare with. I'm sure some people are saying in their minds that we should not compare ourselves with anybody. But are we living in a universe which is only us alone, or are we living in a universal economies? In a universal economy, we respond as for the others. If the others have 16%, why not us? Tell me, why not us? Honourable Speaker, I support fully this bill.
Lilian Kogo. Lilian Kogo.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Yes, Minority Whip, Honorable Dr. Lilian Kogo. Thank you. Thank you so much. PhD, LLM. Thank you. Not LCC. Honorable Speaker, allow me, Papa, to rise and vehemently oppose this particular Finance Bill 2023. And I want to do it on the basis of a couple of matters, and after that I'll just sit down, Honorable Speaker. It is proposed, Honorable Speaker, that there is a tax that is going to be placed on what is being assumed or being called beauty products. And beauty products, most of the consumers of beauty products are women, Honorable Speaker, and I do not know why somebody would hate Kenyan women that much. Why do you hate Kenyan women that you don't want them to be beautiful? Why do you want to hate Kenyan women so much so that even when you send fare, you complain? Why do you want to hate Kenyan women to the extent that you assume these are beauty products? But things like wigs are used by women probably to cover up when they are having or they are suffering from cancer. What I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, these are not only beauty products, Honorable Speaker. We have both men and women who suffer fungal infection of nails, Honorable Speaker. And that is why people end up using what they call fake nail products. These are not necessarily used for beauty. These are even recommended by doctors. But what I really hate is the attitude that people have towards Kenyan women, Honorable Speaker. We want to compete with others in beauty. We want to also look nice. We want our husbands to see us beautiful, Honorable Speaker. And we have a right, Honorable Speaker, to use this addition product, Honorable Speaker. So whoever thought about putting any or introducing taxation on beauty products, please think twice. Because I know even your wife at home uses them. Secondly, they do. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that most content creation, digital content creation, is done by young people, Honorable Speaker. And as I speak for young people of this country, Honorable Speaker, it doesn't matter whether this particular taxation has been reduced from 15 to 5%. These are people, young people, who take a lot of their time to try and put food on their table and to get employment for themselves. Why do you want to cheat the Kenyan public that you are creating employment when you are killing employment on the other side, Honorable Speaker? These are people who are young, and they need tax reprieve so that they can be innovative and they can also be creative, Honorable Speaker. Of course, I don't want to belabor, Honorable Speaker, on increment of taxation on petroleum products, Honorable Speaker. Everything, all manner of fuel requirements is petroleum-based. Why should somebody insist, whereas we already have high taxation? We are spending so much already, Honorable Speaker, on electricity. The cost of electricity in this country is so high, and most electricity generation is done using petroleum products. How much are we going to end up paying for electricity, Honorable Speaker? And Honorable Speaker, as I speak, please, Kimani Ichung'wah, can you allow me to expedite what I'm doing? I am not going to listen to you. I didn't speak when you're speaking, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. This is what I'm saying as I speak, Honorable Speaker, that I am going to say no when the time comes. I am saying I'm rejecting this finance bill in totality, Honorable Speaker, and I'm saying on behalf of Rangwe people who have sent me, Honorable Speaker, that I oppose this particular bill. I thank you.
Yes.
Honorable Speaker, on a light note, you need to protect me. And I appreciate that there are some members who generate bonga points from their constituencies by mentioning the name Kimani Ichung'wah. But you know, it can't be that I can't even smile. I know Lilian Gogo is a beautiful lady from Rangwe. And when she speaks about generation of electricity and says most of the electricity is generated through fuel, and I smile at her because she knows she's lying. And I was only smiling because she's telling a green lie. She knows most of our electricity today is green energy. It is not thermal energy. Okay. And because she knows it is the truth, she's
You've made
misleading
your
people.
point.
Please protect me, Mr. Speaker.
Order. 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 Member for Manyata. Yes, Chonga, what is the problem? Hold on, Kitonga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you have been observing since when this session started, two members, the majority, leader majority and his deputy, are busy intimidating this side instead of following what is going on. They are bullying the opposition side. Mr. Speaker, my request, Mr. Speaker,
yes,
is to make a statement about these two leaders here.
Order, Honorable Chonga. Order, Honorable Chonga. Order, Honorable Chonga. Honorable Chonga, you are legitimately elected by your people, and you should not allow yourself to be intimidated by simply a member looking across at you. That cannot be, and the House will protect every member against, and there's no limitation as to where members should sit. Kitonga Kon.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I thank you for this opportunity to contribute to this very important bill. Honorable Speaker, before I even go on, I want to start by correcting the honorable member who has just contributed. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, that it's important when members are contributing to this, they should have at least gone through the bill. Honorable Speaker, if members turn to page 169, they will see that the clause that was taxing human hair and products, beauty products, has been deleted by the committee, Honorable Speaker. So I can assure the member that she will be beautiful and she will continue being beautiful. But we also insist on natural beauty, Honorable Speaker. But Honorable Speaker, there has been a talk so much about the hustler in this bill. Honorable Speaker, it's important we demystify and know who are really looking up for the hustlers. Honorable Speaker, anybody who says that when we are talking of building houses, getting money that can be able to go down to our tribes, our construction of markets and everything, Honorable Speaker, is bad, that is a member that does not care about the hustlers. Honorable Speaker, there are members who are opposing this bill, but what they want is to have youths that are desperate, that can be used for maandamano and to cause havoc in this country because they have no work or duties to do, Honorable Speaker. I would like to say that this bill, Honorable Speaker, the finance bill, is a bill that is all-rounded. And Honorable Speaker, because I have been thinking clearly on alternatives, and having looked at the people who have thought out this bill, I've seen they have looked at it wholesomely. I would like to say that it is upon the executive, because it is true that we are tightening our belt. And I want to say this clearly, Honorable Speaker, that we will do our part and pass this bill in this House, Honorable Speaker. But at the same time, I would like to call upon His Excellency the President and his cabinet and anybody else, including this parliament, to start looking at how we are spending the money for taxpayers. I would like to see a case where we have austerity measures so that while Kenyans are tightening their belt, while Kenyans are trying as much as possible, we get these monies, Honorable Speaker, but let us have as showing, not only doing but also showing that we understand the status of this country and we put austerity measures and close those loopholes where, Honorable Speaker, money get lost. I would like to say that, Honorable Speaker, I was happy yesterday when I saw the money that has been given to institutions that fight corruption. And Honorable Speaker, the only thing, and having spoken to many Kenyans, having spoken to my constituents, the challenge and their fear is how the government has been losing money through corruption. The assurance by His Excellency the President that monies collected will be used for the right reasons, without corruption. And I would like him to stamp his foot so hard that we don't have any coin getting lost through corruption, Honorable Speaker, because that will be very bad for anybody who has participated in passing this bill. Honorable Speaker, maybe, and moving forward, in another 1 year, the bill that is going to be read in this House will be for increase of salaries of teachers after we pay pending bills that have been accumulated for 5 years and 6 years, Honorable Speaker, during handshake government. Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Doris Donya. I want to see if you live to your promise that you'll speak for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to oppose this motion, more especially from the side of betting. I don't understand why they had to lower the tax, bearing the fact that most people have committed suicide because they've lost their money. Wives, we can't sleep at night when our husbands are betting because they are waiting to win. So you can imagine the separation from love, having lowered the betting tax. On the other side, Mr. Speaker, every speaker who is supporting the motion is saying that we have a lot of public debt. What you are not telling us is what informed this public debt. What can Kenyans celebrate when we talk of these debts? What is the value? I come from Kisii. There are no roads, no teachers at the junior secondary school. no doctors in hospitals, no even medicine. We can talk of the other days when we were given free nets. Nowadays, the government gives nothing, no free nets. Even university students are complaining the supply of condoms has gone down. We are here, we are not even taking care of our citizens. No food. Mr. Speaker, we are not eating. We are hungry. We are talking of houses. You want people to vote for us. Who will be voting? Let me ask you, Mr. Speaker, which man will come and tell a woman, I love you, at night when you are hungry? What will you be doing? Your food is empty. We are opposing this motion, because this bill, because it does not cater for our interest. Mr. Speaker, the loopholes. Today I saw in one of the TV stations, one police officer makes 15,000 shillings in 2 hours from bribes. How much is that in a day? We should look on ways on how to seal the loopholes, not on ways to take from Kenyans what's duly theirs. I stand firm from Kisii County. The people of Kisii County whom I represent have told me the bill is not good. When I had a conversation with Honorable Soro, he was not smiling because he knows deep down his heart this bill is not good. And if this bill is good, honorable members, why can't we do secret balloting? You will see how it will fall flat. My people from Kenya Kwanza, the other side, you will vote no. So, Mr. Speaker, if this bill is good, let's do secret balloting, yes, and Osoro, it will fall down.
Yes, Osoro. What is your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, yes. I don't think it's in order for Honorable Donya to use me in her statements that when I had a conversation with her that I wasn't smiling. Honorable Speaker, she cannot use there is no smilometer to define whether I support this thing or the finance bill or not. She's been smiling all along when I was contributing, Honorable Speaker. An indication that she was supporting what I was saying is only that at the point she stood to speak, she lost control and only imagined about condoms and things that we actually do not do in Kisii, Honorable Speaker. I consider Honorable Donya as...
What is your point of order?
My point of order, Honorable Speaker, is that she's using my name to make a statement, which is wrong. I support the finance bill. We are not going to vote secretly. It is public, and Kisii County is supporting the finance bill, the entire Kisii County.
Donya, finish up.
Thank you again, and Honorable Soro.
You have 30 seconds.
Lastly, Mr. Speaker, if the government wants to make money, which every point is, we are looking for money, we are looking for money. Even in this finance bill, you are just saying you want money, you want money. Please ask your government, which you are supporting, to make use of our idle land. They make more factories, so, like Mumias is dying, Sony Sugar is dying. That is where we find employment, not building houses. In fact, you are advocating for divorce because if a teacher, you are assuming Donya is a teacher. My husband is a teacher. I contribute house taxes. How many houses will you give Donya and her family? Meaning my husband will be sleeping in another house. I'm also in the other house. What are you telling Kenyans?
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Donya. Owen Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, as we come away from the entertainment by Honorable Donya, we would now like to get to serious business. Honorable Speaker, you know, when I used to teach something called systems theory. When you are looking at systems theory, you needed to look at the input and the output.
Honorable Donya, what is order and buyer?
Point of order. How can he say entertainment? You are making my electorate think I'm a comedian, Honorable Bayer. What are you saying? You have to withdraw, not entertainment.
Carry on, Honorable Baya.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You need to start paying content fee for your new job. Honorable Speaker, I'm talking about systems theory. And when you're talking about the systems theory, you look at the input and the output. But at the end of the day, Honorable Speaker, the bigger picture, the whole system is very important. As we split hairs discussing the finance bill and the issues that go into it, we need to look at the big picture. The big picture is this country requires revenue. The revenue that is required is needed so that we move this country forward. What are we looking at? We are looking at 300 billion shillings. Where is this 300 billion shillings going in this finance bill? Honorable Speaker, if I come from the coast, and I come from the coast, I wouldn't oppose the finance bill because the Blue Economy and Fisheries Department, for the first time, to grow the fisheries industry in the coast is getting 1.8 billion to ensure our fishermen have nets, our industry in the fisher industry has resources. Again, the shipping and maritime affairs industry has 24.88 billion. Money that is meant to grow the maritime industry at the coast. Again, in this budget for which this finance bill is going to finance, has 2.2 billion for buying land from absentee landlords. Honorable Speaker, if you come from the coast and you oppose this finance bill, the finance bill which is going to finance all these beautiful good things that the president wants to do for the coast region, who are you fighting for? That is the question that I ask. Who are you fighting for? We need to look at the big picture. When we collect all these resources, all this money, whether it comes from hair, from nails, from condoms, like Donya said, from wherever it comes from, the bigger picture still remains an important thing, and it is about what we get from it. And I'm very sure after this finance bill, the coast region will rise because of the money that we have. Honorable Speaker, again, the question is, where do we as a country want to go? Do we want to go over the cliff through more borrowing, or do we want to stop borrowing, start looking at inward revenue and use that revenue to ensure that we can develop this country, or we want to go over the cliff with debt? Honorable Speaker, many of these people who I shared a podium with when I was in ODM believed what Kibaki did when he was president. That Kibaki brought in the new saying, kulipa ushuru ni kujenga taifa, ni kujitegemea. Kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. A lot of them believe in that mantra. They believe in the Kibaki economics, which was about self-sustaining a country through taxes. Today, they will sit here and say, we cannot pay taxes. We should not pay taxes. But what I want to look at, Kenya Kwanza has a manifesto which it has to fund, and that funding must come through taxes, and it is these taxes that we have to collect as a government and ensure that Honorable Wandai, Honorable Mbui, they have enough money for their roads in their constituencies, that they have enough money for CDF, and this money will not come from donors. It will come from the taxes that we pay. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, the coast region where I come from is known for cement manufacturing. This cement industry has been for a long time stifled because of imported cement. A lot of the Chinese have built these roads through imported cement, and yet this country has a capacity to produce cement, employ many people, and use the local people and local resources to create wealth for this country. Today I'm happy because this finance bill imposes a heavy tax on imported cement, giving an opportunity to the cement industry and the cement industry in this country to develop. Honorable Speaker, we have the ultimate duty as leaders to ensure that we sacrifice just like our ancestors and our forefathers sacrificed for this country. We cannot be talking about me and I and the other. We need to look at the nation, at the country. Kenya must rise, and it cannot rise.
Thank you, Ruth Odinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to oppose the financial bill. Mine would be to start by saying that there's no Kenyan who does not want to pay tax. And we are not here to say we are opposing this financial bill because we don't want to pay tax. I think every Kenyan is paying tax and has been paying tax. Probably they are only complaining that the tax that they've been paying, they do not know what it does that benefits them as such. And that now that they're not even satisfied with the one they've been paying, they're now being made to pay more than what they've already been paying. And I think that should be stated clearly, because it's important that we are not misled by the KK brothers of ours here to say that we are saying people should not pay tax. That is not the case. I would like to start off with the fuel levy. For me, I thought that one of the reasons that the fuel levy was actually reduced from the 16% to the 8% was during the COVID times, when the country was going through a very terrible time and there was a revamp in a slump in our economy. And after that, we are now in a period that we are stating that the economy is now back to normal. I don't think so. I don't know why the Kenya Kwanza team have decided to agree. The government is saying that now we are back to paying 16% from 8%. Yet the economy is worse. People are suffering more. Most businesses are still closed since COVID. What has happened that has informed us to now state that the fuel levy should go from 8 to 16%? I think that was too much of a drastic change. We all know that the fuel levy is going to affect the whole of the economy, especially Kenya being an agricultural economy. With the fuel taxes going higher, it means, therefore, we are going to be paying more for machinery in the farms, we are going to be paying more for transportation of our goods, and this is really going to affect our economy. On top of that, we are saying that the VAT should be put on export goods. If we do that, we are killing the same export that we are expecting Kenya to be a net exporter of our goods. How do we then